The creatine mistake causing this side effect. What if I told you that the side effect you're blaming on creatine might not actually be caused by creatine at all? Every day, people start taking creatine, hoping for better workouts, more strength, and improved muscle health. But then something happens. They feel bloated, they gain weight, they get headaches, they feel uncomfortable, and almost immediately, they point the finger at creatine. But here's the surprising truth. In many cases, the real problem isn't the supplement. It's a mistake people make while taking it. Today, we're uncovering the creatine mistake that may be causing unwanted side effects and the 8 warning signs that tell you whether you're using creatine correctly. And trust me, number 8 is the one that ties everything together. But before we begin, drop your name and the city you're watching from in the comments below. Alright, let's get started. Number 1, the scale suddenly goes up. Have you ever stepped on the scale a few days after starting creatine and thought, wait, what happened? If so, you're definitely not alone. In fact, this is one of the most common reasons people stop taking creatine before they ever experience its full benefits. It usually starts with a small surprise. The scale suddenly shows a few extra pounds, sometimes within the first week. For people trying to maintain or lose weight, that number can be alarming. Panic sets in, and many immediately assume they're gaining body fat. But here's the important part. In many cases, that weight isn't fat at all. Creatine helps your muscles store more water, which is one of the ways it supports performance and recovery. As your muscles become more hydrated, your body weight can increase slightly, even if your diet hasn't changed, and your body fat remains exactly the same. The real mistake isn't the weight gain itself. The real mistake is assuming that every pound gained automatically equals fat gain. Body weight is influenced by many factors, including water, muscle, food intake, and hydration status. The scale only shows a number. It doesn't tell you where that weight came from. That's why understanding what's happening inside your body is so important. When people recognize that early weight changes are often related to muscle hydration, they're much less likely to panic or quit prematurely. Sometimes the scale tells only part of the story. And with creatine, knowing the difference between water weight and fat gain can save a lot of unnecessary frustration. Number 2, you feel bloated and uncomfortable. Here's a side effect that frustrates a lot of people when they first start taking creatine: bloating. A few days into using it, some people notice their stomach feels uncomfortable, their midsection feels puffier than usual, or they simply don't feel quite right. Naturally, they blame creatine and assume the supplement is the problem. But there's an important detail that often gets overlooked: dosage. Many people make the mistake of thinking that bigger doses will produce faster results. They take large scoops, follow aggressive loading protocols, or consume far more than their body actually needs. The goal is understandable. They want quicker progress. Unfortunately, their digestive system may have other plans. Instead of faster gains, they end up dealing with bloating, stomach discomfort, or digestive issues that make the entire experience unpleasant. The funny thing is that creatine itself may not be the real problem. In many cases, the issue is simply taking too much, too fast. Your muscles don't become saturated overnight, and trying to force the process rarely provides extra benefits. What it often does provide is unnecessary discomfort. That's why many experienced users take a simpler approach. Rather than chasing shortcuts, they focus on a moderate daily dose and allow the process to happen gradually. The lesson here is simple. More isn't always better. Sometimes the best results come from being patient and giving your body an amount it can comfortably handle. Because when it comes to creatine, consistency usually works much better than excess. Number 3, headaches start appearing. Have you ever started taking a supplement and then suddenly found yourself dealing with headaches? If that's happened after starting creatine, you're not alone, but the reason may not be what you think. Most people immediately assume the supplement itself is causing the problem. However, in many cases, the real issue has less to do with creatine and more to do with hydration. Here's why. Creatine helps your muscles store more water, which is one of the ways it supports strength, performance, and recovery. But when more water is being pulled into muscle tissue, your body's overall need for fluids can increase. If you continue drinking the same amount of water as before, you may start falling behind on hydration without even realizing it. And one of the earliest warning signs of dehydration is often headaches. You might also notice fatigue, low energy, difficulty concentrating, or that general feeling of being off throughout the day. Because these symptoms appear after starting creatine, many people blame the supplement and stop taking it. But honestly, the real mistake may be ignoring hydration. For many users, something as simple as drinking more water consistently can make a huge difference in how they feel. It can also help prevent many of the complaints that are often blamed on creatine in the first place. Sometimes, the supplement isn't causing the problem at all. Your body may simply be asking for more fluids than it used to need. Number 4. Your energy feels lower instead of higher. This sounds completely backward, doesn't it? People start taking creatine because they want better workouts, improved strength, and more energy during exercise. So when they suddenly feel sluggish or low on energy, it can be incredibly confusing. How can a supplement that's supposed to help performance make me feel worse? That's a question many first-time users ask. But once again, hydration is often the missing piece of the puzzle. Creatine helps your muscles hold more water, which is part of what makes it effective. However, that also means your body may need more fluids than it did before. If you don't increase your water intake, your hydration levels can gradually fall behind. And, when that happens, fatigue can start creeping in. You may feel more tired during the day, less energetic during workouts, or simply not feel as sharp and motivated as usual. Because these changes happen after starting creatine, many people immediately blame the supplement. But in reality, creatine may not be the problem at all. The real issue could be that your body is struggling to keep up with its increased hydration needs. That's why experienced users often pay close attention to their fluid intake when using creatine. They understand that proper hydration helps support the very benefits they're trying to achieve. So, if creatine seems to be making you feel sluggish, don't assume the supplement is working against you. Sometimes the solution is much simpler than people realize. Your body may just be asking for more water. Number 5. Your stomach isn't happy. Here's something supplement companies rarely spend much time talking about. One of the most common complaints among new creatine users isn't weight gain, muscle cramps, or lack of results. It's digestive discomfort. Some people experience bloating, stomach cramps, nausea, or an upset stomach shortly after they start taking creatine. Naturally, many assume the supplement itself is to blame and decide it simply doesn't agree with their body. But the reality is often more complicated. In many cases, the discomfort isn't caused by creatine itself, it's caused by how it's being used. Some people take huge doses because they want faster results. Others don't mix it properly, leaving clumps that can be harder to tolerate. Some take it on an empty stomach and then wonder why they feel uncomfortable afterward. The good news is that these issues are often surprisingly easy to fix. Something as simple as reducing the dose, mixing it more thoroughly, taking it with a meal, or spreading intake throughout the day can make a noticeable difference. That's why it's important not to assume that one bad experience means creatine isn't right for you. Sometimes, the problem isn't the supplement, it's the routine surrounding it. The lesson here is simple. Before giving up on creatine, take a look at how you're taking it. A small adjustment can sometimes turn a frustrating experience into a completely different one. And honestly, those simple adjustments are often all it takes to make creatine much easier to tolerate. Number 6. You're expecting instant results. Now let's talk about a side effect that doesn't happen in your muscles, your stomach, or anywhere else in your body. It happens in your mind. Disappointment. And honestly, it's one of the most common side effects of creatine, even though it has nothing to do with the supplement itself. The problem starts with expectations. Social media is filled with dramatic transformation photos, viral fitness videos, and promises of incredible results in just a few days. After seeing enough of that content, it's easy to believe that creatine works like magic. People expect bigger muscles almost overnight. They expect dramatic strength gains within a week. They expect endless energy and workout performance that suddenly feels superhuman. Then reality shows up. Creatine doesn't work that way. It isn't a quick fix, and it certainly isn't a miracle supplement. Its benefits tend to build gradually as your muscles become saturated over time. The changes are often subtle at first: a slightly better workout, improved recovery, a little more strength, or better consistency from week to week. The challenge is that these improvements rarely match the exaggerated expectations many people start with. And when expectations are unrealistic, disappointment becomes almost inevitable, even when creatine is actually working exactly as it should. That's why one of the smartest things you can do before starting creatine is adjust your expectations. Think of it as a long-term support tool rather than an overnight transformation product. Because the people who are happiest with their results usually aren't the ones chasing instant miracles. They're the ones who understand that meaningful progress takes time, consistency, and patience. And when you approach creatine with realistic expectations, you're much more likely to appreciate the steady improvements that can add up to significant results over the long run. Number 7, you're ignoring the basics. Here's a mistake that quietly ruins results, and most people don't even realize they're making it. Some people become completely focused on creatine and expect it to do all the heavy lifting for them. They buy the supplement, take it every day, and wait for amazing results to appear. But at the same time, they aren't exercising consistently, they're not eating enough protein, and they're getting far less sleep than their body needs. A few weeks later, they look in the mirror, see little change, and start wondering why creatine isn't working. The truth is that creatine was never designed to work alone. Think of it like adding a turbocharger to a car. A turbo can improve performance, but it won't help much if the engine isn't running properly in the first place. The same idea applies here. Creatine can support your efforts, but it can't replace the habits that drive real progress. Regular exercise gives your muscles a reason to grow stronger. Protein provides the building materials for recovery and repair. Quality sleep helps your body recover and adapt. Creatine simply helps support those processes. That's why the best results usually come from people who focus on the fundamentals first. They train consistently, eat well, stay hydrated, and get enough rest. Then, they use creatine as an extra tool to support what they're already doing. Because at the end of the day, creatine works best when it's part of a healthy routine, not a substitute for one. The supplement can help, but it can't do the work for you. And honestly, that's what makes the biggest difference in the long run. Number 8. The real side effect is usually the same mistake. So what's the creatine mistake hiding behind so many of these frustrating side effects? In many cases, it's not the supplement itself, it's failing to support creatine with the things that actually matter: proper hydration, realistic expectations, and healthy daily habits. Think about it for a moment. The unexpected weight gain that scares people away is often just water being stored inside muscle cells. Headaches frequently trace back to inadequate hydration. Feelings of fatigue can sometimes be linked to not drinking enough fluids. Digestive discomfort often comes from taking excessive doses too quickly. And disappointment usually appears when people expect dramatic transformations long before creatine has had time to work. Do you see the pattern? The common thread isn't always creatine itself. More often, it's how people use it or misunderstand it. That's actually good news, because it means many of these problems are preventable. When people stay hydrated, take reasonable doses, remain active, and give the supplement enough time to work, their experience is often completely different. Suddenly the headaches disappear, the digestive issues become less common, the scale makes more sense, expectations become realistic, and the benefits become much easier to appreciate. At the end of the day, creatine is simply a tool. Like any tool, its effectiveness depends largely on how it's used. And honestly, that may be the biggest lesson of all. When you correct the habits surrounding creatine, many of the most common complaints start fading away. What's left is a supplement that can support strength, recovery, and performance exactly as it was intended to do. So, what's the creatine mistake causing these side effects? For many people, it's not the supplement at all. It's poor hydration, unrealistic expectations, inconsistent habits, or simply taking more than necessary. The good news is that these mistakes are usually easy to fix. Creatine can be a valuable tool for strength, recovery, and muscle health. But like any tool, it works best when used correctly. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a side effect while taking creatine? And do you think it might have been caused by one of these mistakes? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more honest health and fitness content without the hype. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.